What's happening, Sales Ascender? Sean back at you here with another one. And in this video, I'm going to share with you seven secrets to tell around the mouth to tell if your prospect is actually lying to you. Stay tuned. What's happening, Sales Ascender? Sean back at you with another took a tune-up. Let's just jump right into it because today we are continuing on with our body language series in sales, still focused on the mouth, part 2, or part 2, as you will. So let's just bring up the big slide deck here. Let's keep on keeping on. So we are continuing with the mouth. And so today we're going to talk about 7 things that you can use to determine whether or not your prospect is being real, telling the truth with you. This is pretty valuable. Number 1, let's talk about chewing gum. Sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. The more professional you get, the less gum that you're actually going to see. But chewing gum is and can be a wonderful indicator for you to watch because it's an actual movement that's almost a conscious movement. Then it turns unconscious when you have a stick of gum in your mouth. I'm sure you've been chewing before. So most people use chewing gum as a pacifier, right? When they're stressed out or they just need to get their mind off something or trying to distract themselves from a bad habit, for example. The chew speed is the most important thing to watch. As you see in this GIF right here, she's chewing extremely quickly. When you chew faster than normal, a faster cadence. Now, this is going to be determined on the speed of pace at which somebody is speaking to you. Typically will indicate their normal chewing speed. When they're chewing faster than that normal speed, again, it's a little bit of context. You got to watch your prospect, but when they start to chew faster, it means there's a little bit of concern or even some anger that's in there. And so if you're having a sales conversation with a prospect and you notice it's a noticeable change of regular chew to fast chew, this is a time to stop or slow down what you're doing, evaluate your conversation and where it's going. And is it pushing on a really, really hard point with your prospect? Is it something that hurts them? Just be a little bit of sensitive when you start to see somebody chewing a bit faster. Let's talk about vocal tics. This would be like, clearing your throat, all those different tics, right? This is a very minor syndrome of what we call Tourette syndrome, if you know what Tourette's is, where there's just vocal outbursts all the time. So tics occur, they're chirps, they're throat clearing. Most people do this all the time. You hear people throat clear maybe because their throat's dry. That's another reason that it can happen. But again, it is caused by stress and anxiety. There you go. You just heard me clear my throat. When you hear your prospect on a consistent basis clearing their throat or making little mouth noises or chirps or tics or anything like that, most of the time, this is going to be due to a lot of stress and anxiety. When you have stress and anxiety, again, give your prospect room to speak. This is a time as a sales professional to close your mouth and say, hey, seems like something's bugging you. You want to talk about it? And then just be quiet, see what happens. You almost have to act as if you're a therapist. And when you do this, you're going to see tremendous results. Let's talk about mouth stretching. Mouth stretching can be one of 2 things. It's where your mouth goes down. So like, or kind of like a big smile or a big frown, right? And so mouth stretching is another indicator. This is done when we're afraid, typically when we realize there was a mistake made. And most of the time it's a personal mistake. So example, you came into your sales conversation as a sales professional and you realized you forgot your pen and your pad to take notes. What's that move that you make with your face? That's what mouth stretching is, okay? So think about that when a prospect comes in and you see that move. Oh, did you forget something? Very simple way to do it. And you'll be in very good rapport as soon as you see that because, oh yeah, I've actually forgot my pen. No problem, I got an extra one, right? Or whatever the case may be. So as the sales pro, and people have this natural tendency, actually leads into a really great sales training piece here, is what we call the rescue. So I'll just explain that really quickly. So the rescue is where you set up a scenario in which your prospect can actually rescue you. Why? Because when your prospect rescues you, they feel like they've done something, they've accomplished, they've helped, and that creates a better overall mood. So here's a couple of examples that I used. Now, first off, if you're going face-to-face, belly-to-belly in an office, the first thing that I used to do is I'd always wear a button-up shirt. I would intentionally leave one of my buttons undone. And then I would walk into the meeting and I would wait for the prospect to say, hey, your button's undone. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. Thank you so much for telling me. This was a rescue move. It was done intentionally. It is a little bit sneaky, but it works really, really well. So if you remember to do that, that's great. If you're going again belly to belly and you write notes on a piece of paper or pen, forget your pen intentionally and ask your prospect to give you one. Again, another rescue where they've saved you. So when you see a mouth stretch in their body language, be like, hey, are you okay? Did you forget something? And that's typically what that means. When you're on Zoom, leave something on your face. Right? Leave a little piece of food or have the saliva balls that we talked about in one of the previous sessions. Sometimes, a good prospect will be like, hey, you got a little, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I'm embarrassed. Let me just wipe it off, right? And all of a sudden now the prospect has rescued you. That will create instant rapport with you, which is a good move. It's an easy thing to do. If you have the guts to try it, I would encourage you to do it. I've done it all the time. It works really well. So again, mouth stretch, when mouth stretching occurs, whether it's down or up, just ask, hey, did you forget something? Are you okay? So that's 3 of them. Let's move on. This one, you've all seen it. We've all done it. Yawning. What does yawning actually mean? Well, yawning is an excellent pacifier for stress relief. Typically, the main cause of a yawn is going to be one of 2 things. Either you're relieving stress or it might indicate that you're too hot. Right? People yawn when the environment is too warm. Think about a baby. When they get all snuggled up in your arms, they're going to yawn. Why? Because they're too hot. In fact, yawning allows your body to release a lot of heat, probably more heat than you even imagined. So it helps to cool you down, which is a good thing. So if somebody is yawning, check the temperature. Man, it's pretty hot in here, isn't it? If you see somebody yawning, call that one out first just to see. Be like, oh, no, I don't feel that hot. Okay, cool. And that's man. Like, are you doing all right? Right. Cool. That's typically when I see somebody yawn, I just say, is it hot in here? Or is it just me? Because that'll immediately rescue your prospect, and your prospect will be like, yes, I'm hot, or no, I'm not. And then if they're hot, they can actually consciously think about it, maybe do something about it, or turn the heat down, or put a fan on, or something like that. This also, of course, we know may indicate a lack of sleep. You yawn when you're tired. That's just another piece of it. And you typically fall asleep or you get better sleep when you're in the cool. I remember when I was in college, I took a genealogy class and they said, if you sleep under 68 degrees or cooler every single night, you will live 5 years longer. Well, that just tells us that when you're too hot, you're going to yawn. When you're too tired, you're going to yawn. And if you're stressed, this is a relief to also the stress. Tongue and cheek biting. You've probably seen this or even done this in your past or in your life. Sometimes when you bite your cheek, it gets raw. You get the little cold sores in your mouth. Or if you bite your tongue a lot, right? It hurts to bite your tongue when you're talking. So there's a couple of instances, like a tongue biting would be by mistake. That's usually when you're chewing food and not paying attention. Your tongue gets in the way and you bite it. Or you do it to actually soothe nerves. So a big thing there, when you see somebody consistently kind of like biting on their cheek, the majority of the time, this is a soothing nerve move, and it becomes a very nervous habit, and it turns into almost a polarizing thing that you can't get rid of. So very important. If you see somebody biting their cheek, it's usually because they're soothing their nerves. It may make some sense to ask about it. And again, that one's going to be very context sensitive. Now let's talk about smoking. All right, there you go. There's like 5 cigarettes in his mouth there. That's hilarious. Smoking is done more when you're stressed, and that because it's a stress reliever, and it can be a social thing where you actually just go out and smoke socially. You can drink socially. This is another thing to do to actually fit in with the crowd if you're trying to be like them or they're trying to be like you. Again, I don't really think smoking is a great habit. Cigarette smoking, anyway, that is. I don't think that's the best habit because it gets your teeth stains. It makes your hands get stained. It makes your hands kind of stink. It has that smell. If you don't like that smell, then obviously that's a thing. But it's done more when you're stressed, and it can be used as an escape, right? This is something that people lean on a lot of the time when they're maybe trying to lose weight and they smoke. They'll smoke more because they're stopping themselves from eating food. And so it's used as an escape. And in that scenario, it can also be used as an escape in a sales conversation. Hey, I'll be with you in a minute. I got to go grab a smoke break, right? It gives you an escape to get out of the situation, right? So just a couple of things to think about there. So if, and that one was actually used on me, and this is why I know that it's a thing. It's when people don't want to talk to you, and that's okay, right? Just be aware enough to understand the environment that you're in and call it out. That's what I would suggest. Tongue in cheek. So what happens when you go, the tongue into the cheek? What does that mean? Well, it relieves tension. It stretches out those 10 muscles around your mouth. It stretches your cheeks out, and it gives you a little bit of tension release. It's often seen in a very high stress situation, or if somebody is hiding information from you. So if you see the tongue hit the cheek on either side when you're watching in a sales conversation, huge indicator to say, I don't quite believe you. I actually call people out in this part of the call when I'm having it with them. I see them do that. I'm like, that doesn't seem to add up. Like, could you tell me a little bit more about that? And you just dive right back into the conversation and they say, well, actually, and usually they'll come forth with the information that they were hiding previously. This is a great one if you are a sales professional and you talk too much in your sales calls. And again, a 60-minute sales call, you should only be talking as a sales professional for 17 minutes or less. That's right, 60 minutes, don't talk for more than 17 minutes. Set a stopwatch, right? When you talk too much, your prospects will often do this move. So another cue that I sometimes use when I get really excited about things that I'm talking about and I see their cheeks start to bulge out because their tongue's just kind of going in, they want a chance to reveal some information that may be hiding, or they're just straight up like, get out of my face, you're talking too much. I don't want to listen to you. I don't need your stuff. So, and either way is okay, right? It's totally okay either way. And that, my friends, is what we have for you today. I'm excited. Don't forget to smash this like button, share this to somebody who could use it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And always remember, there's a sales ascender in each and every one of you. Go fight, win. I can't wait to see you next time. We'll talk soon.